If you've been applying to jobs and getting rejected over and over again, you're probably starting to think something's wrong with you. But the truth is, it's not you. The job market is so cooked right now, and most people don't really understand why. I'm going to explain why the job market is so cooked right now and what you can do to get ahead of others that don't watch this video. And once you understand how it works, you're going to stop blaming yourself and start playing the game differently. Because most people still think the job market works like it used to. You go to school, you get a degree, you apply to jobs, and you eventually land something. But in reality, that's not how it works anymore. Things have changed a lot, and a lot of people are stuck using the old playbooks in a completely different system. And if I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys, I didn't have to go through this situation because I chose trade school instead of college straight out of high school, and I don't regret it one bit. But I see my brother who graduated from a state university with a business degree, business management, and he's been looking for a job for around 6 months and still can't find anything. So I see firsthand really how hard it is and also how much it affects your mindset because you start to think that you're not good enough, you're not qualified enough, or you just need to try harder and you're just not giving it your all. But that's just not what's happening. The system is not built to give everybody a fair chance. And that brings me to my first point. Apps like ZipRecruiter and Indeed, they're great because they make it easy to apply to many jobs, but at the same time, they're awful because they saturate the market. The average job you're applying to has 200 to 300 applicants, and for some of the good ones, it can be up to 500 to 1,000. And you got to think about it. That listing that has 1,000 applicants on it is only going to hire about 4 employers, with only about 15 to 20 even getting interviewed. There's just way too many applicants. Back in the day, you had to actually go out of your way to apply to places. Now, you could apply to 50 jobs in 10 minutes, so everyone is doing that. Which means every job posting is getting flooded. We're talking hundreds, sometimes thousands of applicants for one position. So even if you're very qualified and experienced, you're getting buried in a ton of resumes. It's not that you're not qualified for the job. It's just that no one even sees you. And here's where it gets worse, because there's a good chance no one is even seeing your application. According to this article by worldeconomicforum.org, approximately 88% of companies use a sort of AI screening software to sift through all the applicants that they get, and this software scans your resume and decides if it's even worth showing to a real person. These systems are basically looking for keywords, so if your resume doesn't even match what exactly they want, then it gets filtered out instantly. So these softwares are filtering out highly qualified and experienced applicants because the system does not detect words in your resume that line up with the job description. No interview, no chance. You're just getting rejected by a robot before a real person even sees your application. And this leads into another problem because degrees don't guarantee jobs anymore. For a long time, the formula was simple. Go to college, get a degree, get a job, buy a house for what feels like a bag of chips now. But things have changed, and now there's a ton of people graduating every year with degrees, and they're still struggling to find work. So you've got more educated people fighting for the same limited opportunities. Almost half of college graduates end up with jobs that don't even require a degree. So having one doesn't separate you like it used to. It's simple supply and demand. There's too many degrees and not enough jobs. You can't just go to college anymore. It's not enough. You're pretty much required to actively engage with the school by joining clubs, doing extracurriculars, and most importantly doing internships, because jobs value experience very highly now. And this brings me straight into my next point. Let's say you're scrolling down the list of jobs on Indeed and you find a listing that says entry level, but also says it requires 2 to 5 years of experience. Like, let's make it make sense. How are you supposed to get experience if every job requires experience? So people get stuck in this loop. I can't get a job without experience, but I can't get experience without a job. And it's frustrating, I know. Companies are less willing to pay for training and development for new employees, and we could see this in these numbers. In 2022, the average was $1,207 per learner for direct learning expenses. And in 2025, we could see a decrease to $954 per learner. It doesn't seem like a lot, but you gotta remember, these are the averages for all the companies in the United States for those years. Companies don't want to hire somebody that they have to train and build up. They just want a finished product. Now let's talk about remote jobs, because this one sounds very good. You can work from home, you get your own hours, but it actually made things very competitive. Before, you were competing with people in your city. Now, you're competing with people across the entire country, sometimes even across the whole world. So you know that perfect remote job that you found on Indeed? Yeah, so did 2,000 other people. Remote jobs receive 3 times more applicants than the in-person jobs. Some of them are getting thousands of applications within a few days. This last point is a major reason why the market is so flooded. Layoffs. And this doesn't just happen to small companies either. Even massive companies are cutting jobs. For example, earlier this year, Epic Games laid off 1,000 employees, which is 20% of their entire workforce. Think about that. That's the company behind Fortnite, one of the biggest games that ever existed. And they're still cutting jobs. And it's not just them. Companies like Amazon have laid off thousands of employees too. So imagine this. You're trying to get your first job, and now you're competing with people who have already had a job and now have real experience. So if you've been applying to jobs and getting no responses, you're not just competing with beginners anymore. You're competing with people who have already had a job with a reputable and successful company. So yeah, the job market is definitely harder right now, but it doesn't mean you're stuck. It just means you have to switch up the way you're playing the game. So what should you actually do? First, don't rely on online applying only, because that's what everyone else is doing, and you'll just get lost in the crowd. 70 to 80% of jobs are filled with networking. So most jobs aren't even filled through applications, they're filled through your connections. And this is why being engaged with more than just grades and classes is almost essential in college now. Second, if your application looks like everybody else's, you're going to be treated like everybody else. You have to make your application stand out and look more appealing. Start with building some skills outside of school, something valuable, something you can actually use. A degree tells people what you learned, a skill shows people what you can actually do. Even something simple like learning Excel better can put you ahead of most people. Familiarizing yourself with AI tools that will help you in your specific niche will also put you ahead of most people, because AI is the future and it's coming fast. And you don't have to learn a bunch of different little things, you just gotta pick something that's useful and get very good at it. And you want to put more than just job experience and skills that you have, you want to put work that you've done in the past that looks positive. That could be projects that you've done in college, experiences that you've experienced, or anything that separates you from the average person. Recruiters look for proof of work, projects, portfolios, to see if you have created something in the past and how good you are at it. And finally, be open of different paths, because the traditional apply and wait approach just isn't as reliable as it used to. And if an opportunity comes through by other means or a job gets back to you that's not exactly what you wanted, there's really no harm in exploring that and seeing where it can take you. And that last point personally resonates with me because I was doing community college for 1 year after high school. I got a good opportunity to join a good union with a trade school, and I took it and I haven't looked back. And at the end of the day, the job market isn't impossible, and it's definitely not what it used to be. But if you treat it like it is, you're gonna struggle. So it's not just you, things are actually changing, you actually have to adjust to them. Again, it's not that you're failing, you're just playing in a system that has changed, and once you understand that, you could play it smarter. If you've been dealing with this recently, drop a comment and let me know your experience. I'd love to try to help you out in the comments. And if this video helped you in any way, drop a like, and that's it for me. Peace.